A garden that smells like heaven. And there you have it, friends. 10 perennials that will keep your garden smelling amazing all season long. From the calming waves of lavender to the heirloom beauty of peonies, the royal romance of roses, and the spicy sweet charm of Dianthus. Each plant brings its own personality and fragrance to your space. Honeysuckle perfumes your pathways. Phlox serenades your evenings, while mock orange fills the air with citrusy delight. Evening primrose surprises at dusk, chocolate cosmos tempts with the scent of dessert, and oriental lilies stand tall as the showstoppers of summer. What I love most about these perennials is that they're more than just plants. They become part of your story. They greet you in the morning with freshness, soothe you at night with calm, and remind you with every breeze why gardening is about more than just growing. It's about living. Whether you have a large backyard, a cozy patio, or even a balcony garden, one or two of these fragrant wonders can completely transform your space into a personal sanctuary. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these perennials speaks to you the most? Are you drawn to the timeless roses, the playful chocolate cosmos, or maybe the surprising ice primrose? Share your favorites in the comments below. I always love reading about what's thriving in your gardens. And if today's journey inspired you, don't forget to give this video a like, share it with a fellow garden lover, and most importantly, subscribe to Earthly Delights. Every week, I'll bring you practical tips, fresh inspiration, and the kind of plant stories that connect soil to soul. Until next time, may your garden bloom with fragrance, beauty, and joy. Happy gardening. 10 Oriental lilies, the showstoppers. Few flowers can stop you in your tracks the way Oriental lilies do. Tall, statuesque, and crowned with enormous blooms, they bring both drama and fragrance to the garden in late summer, just when many plants are winding down. Their scent is bold, heady, and intoxicating. Some describe it as sweet and almost exotic, others as rich and luxurious. For those of you who want a garden that feels like a grand finale each season, Oriental lilies are your stars. They fit beautifully into mixed borders, rising above shorter perennials with a commanding presence, or they can stand alone in clusters for a dramatic impact. Indoors, they're unmatched as cut flowers. Just a few stems in a vase will fill an entire room with perfume. Carrot is straightforward. Give them well-drained soil, plenty of sun, and steady moisture during their growing season, and they'll reward you with reliable blooms year after year. If you're short on space, you can even grow them in large containers on balconies or patios, bringing fragrance closer to your living areas. Their colors are spectacular too, shades of pure white, blush pink, deep red, and stunning bicolors, often with freckles or stripes that add to their allure. Oriental lilies aren't just flowers, they're experiences. When they bloom, they command attention, turning any garden into a stage where fragrance and beauty perform together. 9. Mock orange. A citrus symphony. If you've ever longed for the sweet, intoxicating scent of orange blossoms but don't live in a climate where citrus trees thrive, mock orange is the answer. This hardy shrub earns its name because when it bursts into bloom, usually in late spring to early summer, the fragrance is nearly identical to fresh orange blossoms. Sweet, citrusy, and utterly refreshing. Imagine stepping outside on a warm evening and catching that crisp scent floating through your garden. It feels like being transported to a Mediterranean grove. What makes mock orange especially appealing for many gardeners is its versatility. It's a perennial shrub, which means it adds not only fragrance, but also structure to your landscape. You can use it as a hedge, a backdrop for flower beds, or even as a standalone focal point. The pure white flowers, often in clusters, glow beautifully against their dark green leaves, creating a timeless, elegant look. And unlike many high-maintenance shrubs, mock orange asks for very little in return, just a sunny to partly shaded spot and occasional pruning after flowering to keep its shape. For busy gardeners, retirees who want low effort, or families who love fragrant spaces without constant upkeep, this plant is a gift. Its perfume doesn't just delight you, it draws in bees and butterflies, ensuring your garden hums with life as well as beauty. 8. Dianthus clove-scented charm. Dianthus, often called pinks, may look delicate with their fringed petals and soft hues, But don't be fooled. These little perennials pack a fragrance that's bold and unforgettable. Their scent is often compared to cloves, spicy, sweet, and slightly peppery, a fragrance that immediately stands out in any garden. For many of you who enjoy strolling through your garden in the morning or evening, Dianthus provides that delightful surprise when you bend down and catch its spicy perfume. They're compact and neat, making them perfect for edging pathways, tucking into rock gardens, or even growing in containers on balconies or patios. That's why I often recommend Dianthus to viewers who may not have a sprawling yard. You can still enjoy a rich fragrance, even in smaller spaces. They bloom generously in spring and often again later in the season if you deadhead regularly, rewarding you with waves of color and scent. Their palette is wide, from soft pinks and whites to deep reds, and many are accented with striking patterns. Beyond their beauty and fragrance, Dianthus has a long gardening history, cherished in cottage gardens for centuries. They connect us to tradition while still feeling fresh and modern in today's landscapes. If you want a perennial that offers both charm and character, Dianthus is your spicy scented friend that never goes unnoticed. 7. Chocolate Cosmos Dessert in Bloom. Imagine walking into your garden and catching the unmistakable aroma of chocolate drifting through the air. That's the magic of Chocolate Cosmos, a perennial that looks as indulgent as it smells. With its deep burgundy, almost velvety petals, this flower already feels like a treat for the eyes. But lean in closer and you'll discover its true gift, a fragrance reminiscent of rich, warm cocoa. For gardeners who love to surprise their guests, Chocolate Cosmos is the ultimate showstopper. It's smaller than peonies or roses, but what it lacks in size, it more than makes up for in uniqueness. Place it near a patio or pathway where people can pass by and notice that decadent scent, and I promise it will spark conversations. Chocolate Cosmos thrives in full sun with well-drained soil, blooming from midsummer into fall, just when many other flowers begin to fade. In cooler climates, you may need to lift its tubers before winter and store them indoors, much like you would with dahlias. But trust me, the effort is worth it for this unforgettable plant. It's not only a delight for you, but also for pollinators, who love its blooms as much as we love the fragrance. Adding Chocolate Cosmos to your garden is like adding a secret, an indulgent surprise waiting to be discovered every time you step outside. Part 3. The Unexpected Delights. Now that we've explored the timeless classics and the evening charmers, it's time for a little surprise. These next perennials aren't just fragrant. They're conversation starters. The kind of plants that make guests lean in and ask, "Wait, is that really what I think it is?" From flowers that smell like dessert to shrubs that mimic citrus groves, these unexpected delights will bring personality, intrigue, and unforgettable scents to your garden. 6. Evening Primrose, the nighttime surprise. Evening Primrose is a perennial that lives up to its name. It waits until twilight to reveal its magic. Just as the day cools and the garden quiets, its bright yellow blooms open, almost as if on cue, and release a refreshing, lemony fragrance that drifts through the night air. For those of you who enjoy sitting outside after dinner, sharing stories with loved ones, or simply soaking in the calm of the evening, Evening Primrose adds a special layer of charm. It's not just beautiful, it's reliable and easy to grow. Plant it in a sunny spot with well-drained soil, and it will reward you year after year with its cheerful blossoms. This plant has a way of surprising guests, too. Many don't realize that flowers can actually open in real time as dusk settles. But with Evening Primrose, you can witness this little performance night after night. Its fragrance attracts nighttime pollinators like moths, making your garden feel alive even after dark. And for those of you with busy schedules who don't always get to enjoy your garden during the day, this is the plant that makes evenings extra special. Low maintenance, resilient, and bursting with fragrance, Evening Primrose proves that some of the best garden moments happen not under the sun, but under the soft glow of moonlight. 5. Honeysuckle Perfume for Pathways. Few plants capture the magic of summer evenings quite like honeysuckle. Its flowers, delicate and tubular, look almost whimsical, but the scent is what truly steals your heart. Sweet, rich, and lightly fruity, Honeysuckle releases its fragrance most intensely at dusk, filling the air with a perfume so enchanting you'll find yourself pausing just to breathe it in. For those of you who enjoy quiet evening walks in the garden or love sitting on the porch after sunset, honeysuckle is the perfect companion. It's also a climber, which means it can transform simple spaces into something extraordinary. Train it up a trellis, over an archway, or along a garden fence, and suddenly you've created a living wall of green and gold that doubles as a natural perfume diffuser. Hummingbirds and butterflies are especially drawn to it, bringing even more movement and beauty into your garden. Honeysuckle thrives in full sun to partial shade and rewards you generously if you give it support to climb. Early training with gentle ties or guiding its vines will help it grow into the shape you want. And for those of you gardening in cooler regions, there are hardy varieties that can handle the chill, so you don't have to miss out. Whether you choose to frame an entrance or create a fragrant fence, honeysuckle will give your garden a welcoming, timeless atmosphere. 4. Garden Phlox Summer's Long Serenade. Garden phlox is one of those plants that quietly takes center stage without trying too hard. When midsummer arrives and many flowers begin to fade, phlox steps up and sings its song of color and fragrance. Its clusters of star-shaped blooms appear in shades of pink, purple, and white, filling borders with charm and carrying a fragrance that's sweet yet slightly spicy. The real magic happens in the evening. As the sun dips lower, the scent intensifies, drifting across patios, porches, and garden paths. For those of you who love spending time outdoors after a long day, maybe sipping tea, chatting with family, or simply unwinding, phlox creates the perfect backdrop. Another reason I love recommending this perennial is its endurance. While some flowers give only a brief show, phlox can bloom from midsummer well into early fall, stretching out the season of beauty. A tip from experience: give your phlox enough space to breathe. Good airflow helps prevent powdery mildew, which it can be prone to if crowded. Deadheading spent blossoms will also keep new clusters coming. And here's a bonus: phlox is a butterfly magnet. On warm days, you'll find butterflies floating from bloom to bloom, adding movement and life to your garden. Plant phlox near a sitting area, and you'll enjoy not only the fragrance, but also the gentle company of pollinators dancing through the evening air. Part 2. The Evening Charmers. As the day winds down and the sun begins to set, some perennials awaken and release their most enchanting scents. These are the plants that turn an ordinary evening in the garden into something magical, where the air feels thicker, sweeter, and full of life. They're perfect for those of you who love to sit on a porch after dinner, stroll a pathway at dusk, or simply breathe in the night air. Let's explore the evening charmers that make twilight unforgettable. 3. Roses, the royalty of scent. No list of fragrant perennials would ever be complete without the rose, the queen of flowers. For centuries, roses have symbolized love, beauty, and devotion. But in the garden, they offer so much more than symbolism. Their fragrance is powerful enough to transform a space entirely. Walk past a rose-covered trellis in full bloom, and it's as if you've stepped into nature's own perfume shop. What makes roses exciting today is that modern breeding has given us countless varieties that are both stunning and surprisingly easy to grow. You don't need to be an expert with endless free time. Disease-resistant roses are designed for gardeners like you, people who want maximum beauty without constant fussing. Their scents range from light and citrusy to deep, musky tones with that timeless sweet fragrance many of us remember from childhood gardens. Plant them in a sunny spot with good airflow and feed them with a balanced fertilizer, and they'll repay you season after season with blooms and scent. Roses also fit every kind of garden: compact varieties for balconies, climbing roses for fences and arches, lush hybrids for show-stopping borders. They don't just please the eye and nose, they attract pollinators and create focal points that make your garden feel complete. Whether you're drawn to their classic elegance or their intoxicating perfume, roses connect us to history, memory, and a sense of timeless romance right in our own backyards. The 2. Peonies, the heirloom treasure. Now let's turn to a flower that feels almost like royalty in the perennial world: the peony. When peonies bloom, it's not just a garden moment, it's a celebration. Their blossoms are massive, layered like delicate silk gowns in their fragrance, soft, sweet, and utterly romantic. If lavender whispers calm, peonies sing with joy. What makes them truly special is their longevity. Once planted in the right spot, a peony can thrive for decades, some even for 50 years or more, returning each spring bigger, bolder, and more fragrant. Many of you watching may have memories of your grandmother's peonies, their blossoms filling the air with perfume on late spring afternoons. Growing them is like planting a legacy, something you can pass down to your children or grandchildren. Here's the key. Don't plant the tubers too deep. Just 2 inches below the surface is perfect. Too deep, and you may get leaves but no blooms. And because their blossoms are so heavy, especially after a rain, a simple support ring or stake will keep them upright and picture perfect. Colors range from soft blush pinks to striking reds, creamy whites to rare coral tones, each adding its own personality to your garden. When you walk past a blooming peony bed, it's almost impossible not to pause, breathe deeply, and smile. They remind us that beauty, when cared for, lasts through generations. 1. Lavender, the fragrance of calm. Let's begin with a plant that almost every gardener dreams of having, lavender. Just saying the name makes you think of calm evenings, peaceful walks, and that unmistakable scent drifting through the air. Lavender isn't just beautiful, it's practical too. Once established, it's drought-tolerant, thriving in hot, dry conditions, where other plants might seriously struggle. That's why so many of you, whether you're working full-time, traveling often, or balancing busy family life, find lavender to be the perfect low-maintenance choice. Place it in a sunny spot, and those purple blooms will sway gently like waves of color in the breeze, sending out a fragrance so fresh and clean it can carry across your entire garden. Pollinators love it just as much as we do. Bees, butterflies, and even hummingbirds can't resist. A little tip from years of growing: trim your lavender lightly after the first flush of blooms, and you'll often be rewarded with a second round later in the season. Never cut down to the woody stems. Just give it a gentle haircut and watch it respond with vigor. Beyond the garden, lavender keeps on giving. You can harvest sprigs to dry for teas, sachets, or homemade oils, bringing that same relaxing aroma into your home. Imagine opening your closet or pillow and catching that calming fragrance every day. Lavender is more than a plant. It's a lifestyle choice, a little piece of peace you grow with your own hands. 10 Oriental lilies, the showstoppers. Few flowers can stop you in your tracks the way Oriental lilies do. Tall, statuesque, and crowned with enormous blooms, they bring both drama and fragrance to the garden in late summer, just when many plants are winding down. Their scent is bold, heady, and intoxicating. Some describe it as sweet and almost exotic, others as rich and luxurious. For those of you who want a garden that feels like a grand finale each season, Oriental lilies are your stars. They fit beautifully into mixed borders, rising above shorter perennials with a commanding presence, or they can stand alone in clusters for a dramatic impact. Indoors, they're unmatched as cut flowers. Just a few stems in a vase will fill an entire room with perfume. Care is straightforward. Give them well-drained soil, plenty of sun, and steady moisture during their growing season, and they'll reward you with reliable blooms year after year. If you're short on space, you can even grow them in large containers on balconies or patios, bringing fragrance closer to your living areas. Their colors are spectacular too, shades of pure white, blush pink, deep red, and stunning bicolors, often with freckles or stripes that add to their allure. Oriental lilies aren't just flowers, they're experiences. When they bloom, they command attention, turning any garden into a stage where fragrance and beauty perform together. Plant these 10 perennials for a garden that smells amazing all season. Hello, my fellow plant lovers, and welcome back to Earthly Delights. I know many of you watching are people who dream of more than just a backyard or a balcony filled with greenery. You want spaces that feel alive. You're the kind of gardener who craves not only color and a texture, but that moment when a soft breeze carries a fragrance across your garden and suddenly you feel calmer, lighter, almost transported. Some of you are busy professionals looking for plants that thrive with little fuss. Others are parents or grandparents hoping to pass down the joy of gardening to the next generation. And many of you simply want your home, whether it's a small apartment, a cozy suburban yard, or a sprawling country garden, to smell as beautiful as it looks. Today I'm going to guide you through 10 perennials that will make your garden smell amazing all season long. Some are classics you may already love. Others are hidden gems that will surprise you with scents as sweet as citrus or even chocolate. Together, they'll turn your garden into a sanctuary for you, your family, and every guest who steps inside. So if you're ready to discover the plants that can transform your garden into a living perfume, stay with me until the very end. And don't forget, if you love learning practical, inspiring tips for your indoor and outdoor garden, hit that subscribe button right now so you never miss an episode here on Earthly Delights.